Welcome, everyone, to the NoDQ.com live recap of the 2026 WWE Royal Rumble Premium Live event in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, the first Royal Rumble outside of North America. I'm very interested to discuss the Royal Rumble with everybody, give my thoughts, read some of the feedback. Seems like there are a lot of mixed reactions to the show. Let's break it down. We're going to get right into this and talk about the women's Royal Rumble match. If you're watching this live, please share a link on social media. And if you're watching on demand, please give this video a thumbs up and share a link to your friends on social media. We started with the women's Royal Rumble match. No surprise here. It appeared that the crowd was larger than SmackDown. They had these LED lights in the stadium. Remember, this was a stadium built from nothing, built from scratch in just 35 days. There was a controversy about the tickets. Apparently, scalpers bought a lot of the tickets and then marked them up like 10 times the face value. So there was concern going in that there might not be a lot of fans in attendance for this. It looked empty in certain parts during the show. However, I did see some fan pictures and videos, and it does look like the crowd was mostly full in the stadium. It didn't look so great on TV, though. It was strange because every seat seems to have an LED light next to it, and people were confused. Were those there to just hide empty seats, or what was the deal? Didn't really look as good as WWE was probably hoping it would. Now, let's talk about Charlotte, who was the first entrant in the match. By the way, shout out to Caleb Jacobs. Caleb, I will get to your super chat when I talk about the Gunther match, so stay tuned. Please bear with me. Charlotte Flair, first entrant, which is fine. If you think about it, it makes sense. Ric Flair was once number one in the Royal Rumble. Charlotte Flair coming out there and being the Iron Woman. And as soon as she came out, I'm like, well, gee, I wonder if Alexa will be number two. And sure enough, it was Alexa Bliss in the number two spot. The two of them were acting like friends, but Alexa, she wanted to wait while Charlotte was ready to fight, every woman for herself, and almost attacked Alexa, but then said, just kidding. Alexa teased the sister Abigail to Charlotte, but then she said she was just kidding. Apparently, other people sent in super chats before the stream started. I do not see them. They did not appear as starred on StreamYard. So if somebody else sent a super chat before we got started, other than Caleb, if somebody in the chat could please post that for me, it would be very much appreciated. Charlotte and Alexa did get back on track together. Kiana James was the third entrant. Then Nia Jax, Ivy Nile. Lola Vice from NXT was one of the surprises. We then had Candice LeRae out there, Jordan Grace, and Grace was the first person to eliminate somebody. She threw out both Candice LeRae and Lola Vice. City by the Bay, what was your super chat? I am not seeing it. I'm going to need somebody to post in those first two super chats before Caleb because they did not appear on my screen for whatever reason. Okay, here we go. So I don't know if this one's legit or not, but I'll pretend it is. What a boring show. Collision will be better, LOL. I've definitely seen a lot of controversial opinions about this show. I'll say it right now. Female Erin, who some of you might remember from No DQ streams a few years ago, she's my wife's best friend. She hated it. She hated the Royal Rumble and was very disappointed with it. So I will throw that out there right now. She did not care for it at all. She hasn't been following all that much lately, and she absolutely hated the show. So we had Liv Morgan. Well, let me back up a minute. Nia Jax was out there, and she eventually got eliminated by Charlotte. And then in the process, Charlotte also eliminated Alexa Bliss while getting rid of Nia. So a little tease of dissension that things might not be right amongst them in the future. Becky Lynch was 9th in the match. I feel like Becky was almost an afterthought in this match. She did go after Charlotte for a little bit. Sol Ruka was the 10th entrant, and Sol had a pretty good showing in this one. She was in for a long time, did a lot of her flashy offense. More on that in a few. City by the Bay's super chat. Thank you, City by the Bay. Says, the Royal Rumble surprises is what makes it fun. I was underwhelmed by both Rumble matches due to the lack of surprises, but I did bet on Roman, so I'm happy. Well, we'll talk about the betting odds and the outcomes at the end here. I agree with you. Part of the fun in the Rumble is not just when people are coming out, but also who's coming out. And the surprises are always one of the highlights of the show. And spoiler alert, there were not too many surprises in the Royal Rumble. Getting back to the women's match, we had Roxanne Perez, Maxine Dupree, Natty, who's got new entrance music, by the way. They kept the beginning, the guitar sound that was known from Bret Hart's music. And then we had Liv Morgan as the 14th entrant. And by the way, Natty eliminated Becky, so I wonder if that's going somewhere. Liv Morgan was out at 14. Lash Legend, Zelina Vega, and her music is terrible. A lot of the music is terrible. I feel like we say this every year with these matches. The women's theme songs, I mean, the men's too, are not that great. They're quite lackluster. I definitely miss the old days of Jim Johnston and even CFOs with the music. But I did like Natalia's new music. I think it fits her character, and she very much needed it. Shout out to Jordan ZZZZO, who sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, I miss the Attitude Era every time I watch WWE. I don't necessarily miss it. I miss certain elements of the Attitude Era. Like, I miss how compelling the characters and storylines were. But there are certain things about the Attitude Era I definitely don't miss. But you know, that could be a whole live stream. That could be a whole video of discussion on that. I get where you're going with that, though. Just the fact that the Attitude Era really did feel like must-see TV when it was at its peak. It was not perfect, though. All right, back to the Women's Rumble. We had Raquel out there at 17, Chelsea Green at 18, and Alba Fire was there even helping Chelsea from getting eliminated. Chelsea was able to stand on the back of Alba, who was on the floor. And then Julia came out at 19, Io Sky at 20, Asuka at 21, Rhea Ripley, who probably got the biggest pop of the night, at least in the Women's Rumble match, came out at 22nd. And she eliminated several people like Roxanne. She gave Roxanne a razor's edge over the top rope to the outside onto a pile of bodies. And then Bayley was out. NXT's JC Jane, who got no reaction. Her music is terrible, for one thing. And it seemed like the crowd didn't know who she was. Nikki Bella was out at 25. Lyra Valkyria at 26. Kalani Jordan at 27, Kairi Sane at 28. And we had a storyline here where Kairi was there to help Asuka win, but accidentally eliminated her. So no doubt that will lead up to something. Maybe they're going to fight at WrestleMania. It's been brewing for a while. And then number 29 was the big surprise of the match. No Paige, no Saraya, but rather Brie Bella. Now, a lot of people on the internet hated this. My wife, though, she popped big for Brie Bella, and the crowd popped for Brie Bella. Say what you will about Brie, but she came out there and everybody was doing the yes chants. They were really into Brie Bella when she came out there. Her and Nikki had their reunion, and we got a couple of tag team teases, so it definitely looks like we're going to see the Bellas back as a team again. There was a tease with them, Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. And Tiffany Stratton was the final entrant, so I got that bonus point in the No DQ Predictions League. Tiffany back from her hiatus, and we had Judgment Day in there, all three, but well, two of them. And the Bellas went after everybody, and they got rid of Bayley and Lyra. So that might set up something in the future. And then Lash Legend eliminated both Bellas, and then she also eliminated Charlotte. And Charlotte was, in fact, the Iron Woman. She lasted about an hour in the match. So good showing for Charlotte, despite not winning. Lash Legend looked really strong. She eliminated Io as well. And then Rhea Ripley eventually was the one that got out Lash. Lash did well here. And then Raquel tossed out Rhea Ripley, gloated about it, only for Liv to throw out Raquel. So Liv turning against her own partner. It was every woman for herself. And the final four were Liv, Sol Ruka, or final three, I should say, were Liv, Sol Ruka, and Tiffany Stratton. So Sol Ruka got a lot of time in here. Sol did the double Soul Snatcher and tried to eliminate both of them, but all three ended up on the apron. And then Tiffany eliminated Sol, only for Liv to connect with the Oblivion that sent Tiffany all the way to the floor, making Liv Morgan your 2026 Women's Royal Rumble winner. Right what the betting odds said. It was exactly as predicted by the odds makers and the people that bet on that stuff. The AI, Grok, ChatGPT picked Liv Morgan. I picked Liv Morgan. I think most of us on the No DQ Predictions League picked Liv Morgan, and sure enough, she won. And it was overdue for her. She's been the runner-up, and now she's the bride. She's no longer the bridesmaid. She's worked her ass off. She's become one of the most over stars in WWE. So I think it was the right call, although I do agree that the match was really good at the end. I loved the finishing sequence. Overall, I do think the match was a little disappointing for the lack of surprises. We got no Paige, no AJ Lee, despite being back with the company. AJ Lee has never, was she in the Royal Rumble? Ever? I don't recall if she ever was, but you would think she would have been in this match, but nope. No AJ Lee, no Bianca Belair, so she must be in rough shape with her finger and knuckle. The fact that she wasn't able to come back for the Royal Rumble, that really sucks. I mean, that's terrible. Bianca coming back would have been quite the moment, but obviously she wasn't part of it, so that was disappointing. And beyond that, not much else. We had Kalani Jordan, a few NXT names in it, but nothing too significant. Shout out to the Lonely Soldier, This Guy Experience, who said the Women's Royal Rumble was better than the Men's Royal Rumble. I'll miss you, AJ. Talking about AJ Lee. And where's Kofi Kingston? I believe Kofi was in Saudi Arabia. I read somewhere that they were potentially going to do a pre-show match, and I don't even know if that happened or not. But I believe he was there in Saudi Arabia. But yeah, no Kofi Kingston in the Royal Rumble. I mean, let's be real. The Kofi gimmick ran its course a few years ago when he botched it. It was never the same after that. So it kind of just came to an end. All in all, I think it was a good match. Far from the best Royal Rumble match I've ever seen, but it was entertaining with a strong finish. And it could have been better, though, with some more surprises in it. All right, let's move on now to Gunther, the Ring General versus AJ Styles in a WWE career-threatening match. I guess we'll have to see. You had Styles out-wrestling Gunther in the early moments, Gunther had to regroup, and Gunther did slow down the pace for a while, beat up Styles, gave him a big back body drop, put on the Boston Crab, slammed Styles into the announce desk, and apparently Styles, his forearm got split open. He powerbombed Styles. Styles kicked out of that. And then Gunther countered the calf crusher with the sleeper, though Styles got out of that. And then they fought on the outside of the ring, got back in, and Styles countered the powerbomb with a powerbomb of his own. Gunther kicked out of that, though. And then Styles built up momentum. He did the springboard 450, and then he hit the Styles clash, but Gunther was able to kick out. Styles put on the sleeper, but then Gunther gave him a low blow while the referee was not looking, and then Gunther hit another power bomb, but Styles kicked out of that, and then Gunther regained the advantage. He was chopping the hell out of AJ Styles, and the referee even had to check on Styles, but Styles kept fighting back. Gunther, though, managed to reapply the sleeper. Styles kept fighting and fighting. He tried to get to the rope, but he couldn't get there. And then his hand fell to the mat, and the referee lifted it up one more time. It fell again, and the referee knew what he had to do. There was that moment of hesitation from the referee, but then he did the thing. He called for the bell, and the career, at least in WWE, of AJ Styles is officially over. And WWE was quick with the production to show all of the very disappointed fans in the audience. That was great. WWE production doesn't miss with that stuff. Gunther celebrated his win. And then after the match and after Gunther left, AJ Styles got a standing ovation from the fans. He teased taking off his gloves, and he looked like he was about to cry. I feel like Gunther's win was already telegraphed when Styles came out there. Styles looked emotional during his entrance, as if this was the last go-around. But Styles here was in the ring. He was about to take off his gloves, but then he put them back on. He did his signature taunt. He left the ring, but then he came back in the ring, raised his hands up high. His music played, and it definitely felt like the end of Styles' WWE career. He started at the 2016 Royal Rumble, ended it here 10 years later at the Royal Rumble. I know some people were disappointed with it being in Saudi Arabia, but they were into the match and they gave him a great standing ovation at the end. I do not think he's done as a wrestler. I think the whole deal with the gloves was that he's done in WWE, but he will keep wrestling again somewhere else. I think he's going to wrestle in TNA. I would be shocked if he doesn't. AEW, that is a bigger question mark. I think it really depends on how much money Tony Khan offers him, and is there a dollar amount that could get AJ Styles to go to TNA, or go to AEW? For TNA, it would just be him going full circle, going back to TNA and finishing in TNA. Like, what a way to end if it was Styles versus Kazarian in AJ's final match. So I think he will wrestle again. Probably TNA, and I would never rule out AEW because Tony Khan's basically got a checkbook that doesn't end. We'll see what happens. Now, let me get to a couple of these super chats. Caleb Jacob sent in a $2.66 super chat. Thank you for that, Caleb. Caleb says, when Gunther came out first, I knew. I mean, I knew based off of what happened on TV this week and the fact that his contract was coming up and the fact that Grok predicted Gunther, ChatGPT predicted Gunther, I predicted Gunther. Pretty much everybody on the panel predicted Gunther. Gunther shouldn't have been losing. AJ's career, I was a little surprised when they announced the stipulation. I thought Styles would wrestle for most of the year, but wasn't to be. And also when Styles came out too, that was telling. Shout out to Jordan ZZZZZO. with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, I want AJ Styles, Mike Bailey, and Chad Gable in AEW immediately. I think you meant WWE Bailey. You spelled it like Mike Bailey. So maybe that's why I was thinking that, but I presume you mean WWE Bailey. I don't think Gable's going to AEW. We'll talk about if Chad Gable returned in just a little bit. But AJ Styles, you never know. Bailey, you never know. You never know with anybody. Anybody could jump. But Bailey seems happy in WWE, and she would really surprise me if she left. And Chad Gable seems content in WWE, and I think he had a chance to leave. I think his contract was up a few years ago, and he ended up staying with WWE. So there you go. All right, next up, we had Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn for the WWE Championship. I thought it was a very good match. I do think they were in a tough position having to follow the previous match. But for what it was very good. Crowd was really into Sami Zayn, as you might expect. Although I feel like they weren't as much into him as they were for his match a couple years ago when he was teaming up with Kevin Owens. Now, maybe it's because Zayn's momentum has cooled off a little bit since then. But nonetheless, I did enjoy the match, and they had the storyline where Sami Zayn's back got hurt early on, and McIntyre was able to capitalize on that. He targeted the back, but then Zayn got in his offense. He hit the sunset flip power bomb, and then he countered the Claymore with the Blue Thunder Bomb. Of course, McIntyre kicked out of it. McIntyre came back with the Avalanche White Noise, and he delivered 3 future shock DDTs. Couldn't get the win, though. Zayn stayed in the fight. Zayn went for a haluva kick, but McIntyre avoided it, hit the Claymore. Zayn, however, got his foot on the rope. McIntyre argued with the referee. Zayn took advantage, hit the haluva kick, but McIntyre got his shoulder up. And then they fought outside of the ring. Zayn's back gave him problems again, and McIntyre powerbombed him through the announce desk, got him back in the ring, but then Zayn made another comeback, hit the exploder suplex, went for another haluva kick, but McIntyre managed to hit the Claymore first, and then he hit one more Claymore for good measure, got the 1-2-3 victory to retain his championship. I wasn't expecting a title change here. I figured Drew McIntyre would stay strong. They could have done it for the feel-good moment, but they didn't. So another letdown for the fans. Heels winning 2 times in a row. Well, really 3 if you count Liv Morgan, but the crowd did pop for Liv winning. McIntyre retains, and yeah, it was ultimately what it needed to be. It was a pretty good match, although it might have been, I don't know. I don't know if it was the weakest match on the show or not. Maybe I would put it slightly above the Women's Rumble. They were close. Got a few super chats here, so I'll get to those. Bill Mad Skills sent in $10. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Comment here says, nothing clever to say, just showing some love, no DQ for life. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you to everybody watching, whether it's live or on demand. As always, your viewership is much appreciated. So again, thank you for that. Hamp sent in a $5 super chat. Hamp was not impressed with the show, but he usually isn't. Hamp says, I finally got a VPN for this show. It was only $13, and that's what I'm doing from now on. ESPN needs to wake up and have a plan strictly for WWE. Hey, VPN is definitely an alternative. Although for me, I like to watch on the big screen, but I can watch the shows on my computer, especially the SmackDown episodes when they're overseas. And if you would like to do that, head over to nodq.com/VPN and sign up. You can help out the site by signing up for a VPN with that link, nodq.com/VPN. And Building Nexus sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Building Nexus. Says, do you think AJ Styles might want to give TNA a big rub before retiring? Yeah, I definitely think AJ would like to do some more matches in TNA and truly go full circle. He started in TNA, went to WWE. Now he's done, presumably, and he could wrap up in TNA. Maybe he'll go back to Japan first, so it'll really be like a full circle. Like TNA, Japan, WWE, Japan, TNA. We'll see if that's what he ends up doing and does a nice round full circle. Plus, you would think he's going in the Hall of Fame. And if he goes to AEW, like, I don't think WWE would be petty, but it might hurt his chances of going in anytime in the near future. So I feel like he will not go to AEW unless the money is just so much that he can't turn it down. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, will AJ Styles wrestle in AEW? Like I said, I think it really depends on if there is a dollar amount that AJ will take. Is there a number? If there is, he'll be there. But will Tony Khan offer that amount? I mean, Tony Khan could, and we know Tony Khan is a mark for great independent wrestling and the work rate guys, the guys that put on the 5-star bangers, 6-star bangers. That's what Tony Khan likes. That's what his audience likes. And imagine AJ Styles versus Kenny Omega, or AJ Styles versus Will Ospreay, or AJ Styles versus Swerve Strickland. I mean, there's a lot of matches they could do if AJ Styles did go to AEW. So nothing is a guarantee. Money can change anything. And it could just be AJ felt like he's done all he can do in WWE, for that matter. All right, let's get to the men's Royal Rumble match. We had Obafemi as the first entrant in the match, and Braun Breaker was the second entrant in the match. So that spoiler, Braun Breaker, the graphic with him as number 1, WWE just changed it to number 2. Braun Breaker was number 2, and we had a mystery man attack Braun Breaker before Breaker could even get in the ring. And the mystery man did the curb stomp and then ran away. So here is my theory, and I don't think it was theory. Here's what I think. I think WWE wants to keep the door open for Seth Rollins to be at WrestleMania. If Rollins can get cleared in time, they can do the reveal before WrestleMania. And if he doesn't get cleared, they can save the reveal until Rollins is cleared. I think it's Seth Rollins. I think it will be revealed as Seth Rollins, and this was the setup for that. It's just a matter of, will they do it at WrestleMania or not? And I think the idea of this angle is to plant the seeds for Rollins coming back. And if Rollins is cleared, they'll do Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker at WrestleMania. That is my guess at this time. That's what I'm thinking, that this is setting up Rollins' return. And it just depends on whether he's cleared or not in time for WrestleMania to do the match with Braun Breaker. And 2010 Jose M, I'll get to your super chat in just a minute. Obafemi was able to immediately eliminate Braun Breaker, by the way, due to the attack from the mystery man. And we did not find out who the mystery man was. So again, Seth Rollins ain't cleared, so they can't really have him under the mask. Plus, if Rollins was spotted, then people would be like, oh, he's going to be wrestling. So I guess they don't want to, make people think he's ready when he's not ready yet. So I think this was a good idea to plant the seeds for it. So Obafemi was on fire in the beginning of this match. We had Solo Sikoa, Rey Mysterio, Rusev out there. Man, Rusev is already, he's in the doghouse or something. I don't know what's up with him, but he got tossed out pretty much immediately by Obafemi. Looks like the Rusev run is pretty much at the end. Oba also eliminated Solo and Rey Mysterio, which makes sense if Rey was hurt on Monday Night Raw and had a rib injury or whatever was reported. Made sense to get him out pretty quickly. Matt Cardona was out there, and he got eliminated right away from Obafemi via the fall from grace powerbomb. So Matt Cardona also back to being just another guy on the roster. Cardona, Rusev come back. And Rusev at least had a good 6 months of being pushed before he's back to just being another guy on the roster. Matt Cardona had what, like 2 weeks? We had Javon Evans. Well, actually, back up. Damian Priest was 7th. Javon Evans came out there, and Javon Evans had a pretty good showing in this one. But then we had Mr. Iguana from AAA at number 9 as one of the surprise entrants, and people were definitely disappointed with that. You know, we got the comedy and whatnot, but considering there were so few surprises and one of them was Mr. Iguana, I think some people were not happy with this one. And I get it. Like, it would have been cool to see a bigger star in that spot. And we also had later on, I'll mention this now since there's a super chat here I wanted to read off. La Parka from AAA was also a surprise entrant. Very random. Like, as far as surprises go, I don't think anybody was really clamoring for La Parka. 2010, Jose M sent in a $5 super chat, says, so Finn Balor had no spot for the Rumble because Adam Pearce had to make room for Iguana and La Parka. LOL. Yeah, that's funny in storyline. Finn Balor should really use that. As part of his promo, he should say, you had Mr. Iguana and La Parka in the Royal Rumble and you had no room for me. I like it. They should really script that for Finn Balor's next promo. Have him complain that Adam Pearce did that to him. 100% they should capitalize on that. TJS referencing a viral line from AJ Styles for those of you that don't know what that's about. Apparently, AJ did an interview years ago with Dave Meltzer or somebody, and somebody called in and asked AJ about his standing in the gay community, and AJ was like, the gay community? And that became a meme, and people always make fun of AJ for that. So that's the reference from TJS in case you guys wonder what the hell he's talking about. And was this a new era of WWE? No, not necessarily. But you know what? The new era of WWE begins this Monday on Raw. Stay tuned for that. Caleb Jacobs sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Caleb. I appreciate the super chat, Caleb. Caleb says, what if Chris Jericho is the backup plan for Seth Rollins and the masked man was Chris Jericho if Seth is not cleared? You know what? That's not a bad idea. And that would definitely be a swerve if people are thinking it's Rollins and then he unmasks and it's Jericho. Hell, maybe they do that and they don't even have Rollins revealed as the masked man, whether he's cleared or not. They could always just make it Jericho to throw people off. I mean, it's certainly a possibility. I mentioned this when we did our predictions video. Chris Jericho is the kind of guy that doesn't want to make things obvious. He wants people to stay surprised, and the Rumble would have been too obvious. Now, also, he might still be under contract to AEW. I mean, there were reports that his contract expired, but as of today, he is still on the AEW roster page. And spoiler alert, no Chris Jericho at the Royal Rumble. But let's get back to the Rumble. Mr. Tito sent in $2. He says, half of the no DQ review was spent on Finn Balor in the Royal Rumble. Well, I didn't really want to talk about Finn Balor in the Royal Rumble, but the others did, and that's how it goes with the no DQ review. Every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern 4 p.m. Pacific. For those of you that are maybe watching for the first time, we have a full panel every single week to discuss the topics, and I'm sure we'll be talking about the Rumble. So make sure you subscribe, nodq.com/YouTube. And check out Tito's columns over on nodq.com. Thank you, Tito. All right, we had Trick Williams at number 10. And is it just me, or did Trick Williams not really do much in this match? Like, I forgot anything that he did in the ring for this match. I don't even remember who eliminated him. Cody Rhodes was 11th, so one of the big entrants in the match. Cody Rhodes at 11. He went after Obafemi. And then we had El Grande Americano at number 12. He put the foreign plate, the foreign object, whatever it is, in his mask. And then we had the 13th entrant, who was the original El Grande Americano, which I figured we were going to get. So we had them doing the Spider-Man meme, the pointing with the two Spider-Mans. And the original eliminated the new version, but then he got sent out as well. And we'll see where things go with that. Then we had the 14th entrance, who was, at first, Powerhouse Hobbs. Former AEW star Powerhouse Hobbs. It even said Powerhouse Hobbs on the screen, but then it transitioned, just like with Matt Cardona a few weeks ago. They had Zack Ryder, and then it transitioned to Matt Cardona. They had Powerhouse Hobbs, and then they transitioned it to Royce Keys, so people would actually know who it was when they saw the name. So there you go. They did acknowledge that he was Powerhouse Hobbs. Formerly known as Powerhouse Hobbs is what they said. They put it up on the screen, but he is in fact Royce Keys. He came out there and he had a good showing. He eliminated Damian Priest, and he went after his old rival in AEW, Cody Rhodes. So he was one of the big surprises of the show, although I think people were expecting him to show up after leaving AEW a few weeks ago. Austin Theory was 15th. Then we had Bronson Reed, Ilya Dragunov, and then La Parka, as mentioned earlier. Dragon Lee, Logan Paul, and the Vision at this point worked together, and they got rid of Hobbs, Royce Keys. Then the Vision eliminated more people, but then LA Knight made his entrance, which I expected, came out there to get his revenge on the Vision, and he did in fact eliminate both Theory and Bronson Reed. He hit Reed with the BFT, and then Brock Lesnar showed up at 22, and he took everybody to Suplex City, and then they kept teasing Lesnar versus Obafemi. They had these little stare downs, but then the Miz came out there. He got tossed out. Then Rey Fenix came out there. He got tossed out. Rey Fenix looked like a total bitch in this match, by the way. Then Lesnar went after Femi, and it was pretty epic. Like, I think this will be a hot match when they do it. Brock did eliminate Femi, so I wonder if this will set up a WrestleMania match. Is it going to be Brock versus Obafemi? That remains to be seen. Because we didn't really get any Lesnar and Gunther interaction on this show. Lesnar cleaned house, and then Jey Uso showed up. And while Jey was coming out, Cody Rhodes and LA Knight worked together and got rid of Brock Lesnar. So that makes me wonder, are they going to do LA Knight versus Brock Lesnar instead of Lesnar versus Obafemi? I mean, they got some options here. Jey Uso came out there, and this was probably the dumbest match or moment of the match, where Jey Uso came in and just started doing his encore and, just yeeting with everybody, posing on the top rope. And I'm thinking, dude, why are you not taking this seriously? Made him look like a complete idiot, in my opinion. So Roman Reigns came out there at number 26, and him and Jey had a little stare down, but Jey wanted to party. He's not really trying to win the Rumble. He's just having fun. So Roman Reigns decked Jay, and then Reigns had a stare down with Cody. Then Jacob Fatu came in at 27. Fatu went after Cody. Something definitely continuing with those guys. Then we had Penta, and he was 28. Cody Rhodes eliminated LA Knight, which got boos from the crowd. Then we had Randy Orton at 29, which left one man left, and they did announce Gunther. So at this point, you knew for sure no Chris Jericho. Gunther was the final entrant, and he was sore from the AJ match, but he went in there. He dominated. Javon Evans, if you guys remember a year or so ago, Javon Evans faced Randy Orton on NXT, and Javon went for that OG cutter from the top rope, and unfortunately they botched it. It was supposed to be the OG cutter into the RKO. They got it right this time. They redid it here at the Rumble, and thankfully, in front of way more people, they pulled it off. Randy Orton hit the RKO, got rid of Evans. So that was probably the coolest spot of the Rumble, with the OG cutter into the RKO. And then Cody was hanging on the apron for dear life when all of a sudden Drew McIntyre showed up, eliminated Cody with the Claymore. Even though Drew, who was not in the match, did the action, it still counted as elimination. It's funny because some years it counts and some years it doesn't. Because technically, isn't it an illegal elimination if somebody who's not in the match causes you to be taken out? I don't know. Anyways, Cody was out because of Drew. So that's the gist of it. So now Cody has to find another way to get to Drew, which will likely lead to Elimination Chamber. And maybe we are getting that triple threat with Jacob Fatu, because Fatu lost, for one thing. Roman Reigns eliminated Fatu, and he also eliminated Jey Uso. So no repeat for Jey. And the final four were Reigns, Gunther, Orton, and Logan Paul. Maybe, just maybe, Fatu wins Elimination Chamber, and Cody's like, nope, I got screwed. I demand my match. And he gets the third spot, and it's a triple threat. We'll see. Anyways, we were down to the final participants in this one. And shout out to Caleb Jacobs, who sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Caleb. Michael Cole said Cody Rhodes has crossed paths with Keys before. That was interesting. And Cole also said that he studied up on Royce Keys. So that means Michael Cole has been watching AEW, if you want to believe that or not. They should have just flat out mentioned AEW, but yeah, they didn't go that far. There was an AEW sign in the crowd, by the way, which got on TV. Shout out to City by the Bay, who sent in a $2 super chat, says, one of the most underwhelming men's Royal Rumble matches. I don't think so. I liked the match. I know there were people that disliked it, though. It was definitely mixed as far as the reactions go. I thought it was pretty entertaining. I liked Hobbs debuting. I thought Obafemi had a good showing. Javon Evans had a good showing. LA Knight came back and did well. So we had some fun moments. We had the attack on Braun Breaker. And they set up a lot of potential matches for WrestleMania. I did like it. I did like it. We had Reigns, Gunther, Orton, and Logan. Of course, Reigns got eliminated. Or not Reigns, excuse me. Logan Paul got eliminated by Reigns. Orton hit the RKO on Reigns, but then Gunther immediately threw out Orton, leaving it down to one-on-one Gunther versus Reigns. And you pretty much know how it's going. I mean, to me, it was a little underwhelming at the end, just because Gunther already got his big win, and, you know, Reigns is going to WrestleMania. So it's kind of like, all right, yeah, Reigns is winning. And sure enough, Gunther tried to put on the sleeper and get him out, but then Reigns was able to escape. He speared Gunther, tossed him out to win, and Roman Reigns is officially going to WrestleMania. No surprise here. I mean, he was the betting odds favorite. Grok picked him and ChatGPT picked him. I picked him. Roman Reigns wins. Crowd popped big for it, though. So the fans there liked it, and I'm sure a lot of fans at home liked it, but it definitely had a mixed response. That's for sure. All in all, I liked the Royal Rumble. I think it could have been better. I think that it did lack some memorable returns and surprise entrants. But again, in Saudi Arabia, I was only expecting so much, considering the fact that they're halfway across the world and it's not as easy to bring in people as surprises. But I did like it. They did set up a lot for WrestleMania, and I thought that the matches were very good. I really liked the Gunther match with AJ Styles. The Rumble matches, I think the men's was more entertaining, but I don't think it was one of the best Royal Rumble matches. It was probably somewhere in the middle for me. Overall, I think I would go 7 out of 10 for the Royal Rumble. I mean, I'm happy with it. I'm fine with Roman Reigns. I mean, if they're doing Roman Reigns versus CM Punk, that's a hot match for WrestleMania. Retro Ashley sent in a five euro super chat. I think it's euro, might be pound. I'm not sure. Which title is Reigns going for? The WWE title or the loser bracket championship? Well, here's the thing. Now, see, here's the thing, to quote Jeff Meacham. It doesn't matter which title Roman Reigns goes for. Roman Reigns is in the main event. Apparently, it's a pound, so thank you for that. If Roman Reigns is going for the World Heavyweight title, that's the Night 2 main event. If he's going for the WWE title, that is the main event. In my opinion, he's going for the World Heavyweight title. I mean, they're clearly setting up Cody versus Drew McIntyre or Jacob Fatu, possible triple threat match. So to me, it's very clear that it's Roman versus CM Punk one-on-one at WrestleMania. 2010, Jose M sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, Drew, Cody, Fatu, and Roman Reigns, Punk, or Drew versus Cody versus Fatu versus Reigns, and then Punk versus Braun 2. I don't think Reigns is going to go over on SmackDown and do a 4-way or anything like that. I think it's going to be Roman Reigns versus CM Punk one-on-one. I don't think we're getting a triple threat, especially if they're doing a triple threat with Drew, Cody, and Fatu. My gut feeling is it's Reigns versus CM Punk, and that will be the main event of WrestleMania. Thank you for that. And Keith Johnson sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. Says, do you see Chris Jericho returning soon? Yes, I do. I think he's going to be on tour with Fozzy for the next month or so. And I think Elimination Chamber is a decent possibility. Like Chicago, United Center, Chris Jericho return. Think about it. Actually, here's all the more reason I think it's going to be Elimination Chamber. It's in Chicago. Where did Chris Jericho debut in WWE? Think about it. It was the Allstate Arena in Chicago. So he makes his return in the same city where he made his debut. So I think it's going to happen at Elimination Chamber. But again, Jericho was known to keep people guessing till the very end. And if he thinks it becomes too predictable of a return, he might hold out. Now, apparently, I haven't been able to watch the post show yet, but people are saying that there were all of these chants for Y2J during the post show, especially when Triple H was out there talking. So I think Jericho will resurface, but probably at the end of February or early March. Elimination Chamber, I believe, is the 28th of February, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Let me check the calendar here. Yeah, Saturday, the 28th of February. I think that's the earliest we'll see Jericho, and If he wants to hold it off a little bit longer than that, we'll have to wait and see. But again, he's still on the AEW roster page. So that's an interesting curveball on all this. Like, what is going on there? Is he actually still under contract? Did he sign a new contract and plans on coming back at Revolution? It's Chris Jericho, so you never know. You never know. All right, that's all I got for the Royal Rumble. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Spread the word. Tell a friend about the NoDQ.com YouTube channel. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for all the latest news and rumors. Great talking with everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. And we got a lot of content to come. Monday Night Raw on Monday, and then the No DQ review on Tuesday, where we will certainly talk about the fallout from the Rumble. We got one more super chat here from Keith Johnson. Says, if so, what do you see Chris Jericho doing for WrestleMania? Well, I think he should be a babyface. He's going to get cheered. I would like to see him maybe team up with LA Knight, or, help LA Knight against the Vision. They could do a tag match at WrestleMania. Maybe Bronson Reed and Austin Theory against Chris Jericho and LA Knight, or maybe add Logan Paul to that. Maybe do a 6-man with Jericho. I think Jericho should be on a babyface team to go against the Vision at WrestleMania. That's what I could see them doing with Jericho. The Jericho versus Logan Paul will be very entertaining if they do that, because we know Logan Paul likes to talk, and Jericho will have some great material for a promo battle with Logan. So that will be fun. I think that would be a fun feud, Jericho versus Logan Paul. But yeah, I think he'll come back as a babyface and probably feud with the Vision or guys at that level. All right, that's all I got. Have a great one, everybody. Take care. Stay safe. Say yes to NoDQ.com, and I will see you all next time.